So in this part of the video, we're going to do how to lay track. Funnest part of the game. First of all, there's two different role play cards that can allow a player or players to lay track. And they're right here. So you've got the Gandy Dancer A and Gandy Dancer B. The top section is the same on both. Every player, including the one that picked the card, gets to lay 5 units of track. And we'll talk about the units of track in just a second. The incentive, as you can tell on the bottom, all these cards have incentives. The incentive on the left side is the player that picked this card gets to lay 8 units of track. 5 from the top, 3 from the bottom. And then the player that laid the Gandy Dancer B, his incentive is he can purchase a locomotive for $15,000. Now let's take a look at the units of track. That's a straight right here. Here's a curve right there. And these are what we call stubs. Those are all three, each worth 1 unit of track. Then we have the switches. We have a couple different switches. Each switch is worth 2 units of track. And then finally, the last unit is the bridge. Now that bridge has blue on it, which indicates that anytime a track touches the water, you've got to have a bridge, or you can't go across. But they're expensive. So if you can go around or go through it where you only have to spend 1 bridge, you'll be money saved. Like for example, let's say someone wanted to build track through here. Well, this player's going to have to burn two bridges, 6 units. Where if he just moved over to here, he would only have to do 1 bridge. Yeah, okay, so that's important. So let's say this player that's in Durango, right up here, picked the Gandy Dancer A card. He gets to lay 8 units of track. So here's what he could do. He's going to go a straight. And he'll play another straight. Now he's going to want to get to this mine or this ore deposit. So he'll put a switch in there. And then he'll continue because he wants to get over here into the next county. So he'll go ahead and put a straight there. He's going to want to curve down. Curve and a curve. Now this guy is a stub. A stub always goes into a mine, which means the track dead ends. You don't put a stub into a town, nor can you put any other track into an ore deposit or a mine. It has to go just like that. So let's count these units of track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And everybody lays their track at the same time, and everybody's on the honor system. So let's say this completes a round, and another player picks the Gandy Dancer card, and this player wants to lay some more track. Only this time he wants to get over here. So in that case, he would lay a straight, which is 1 unit. He's coming into the river, so now he's got to lay a bridge. That's 3. So that's 4 units. And then maybe he wants to put a switch. Let's say he wants to get a town right there maybe. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He couldn't do that. He can only lay 5. So he either does that or he puts in a 1 unit item. So that's how you lay track. Now let's take a look at the reason we're laying track. Well, number 1 reason is we want to pick up the ore deposits to establish a mine. And to do that, this is the card that gets played. That's called the surveyor card, which means every player can lay or establish a town or a mine. So it doesn't matter who played this card. If the player playing in Durango was going to do anything, he might want to put a mine down here because now he has a mine under an ore deposit, which means he has an established working mine. All he has to do is get track laid to it, which he does, and then he can be in production. Now notice this card, the incentive on the bottom is the player that picked this gets also an additional town or a mine. So he'll get to lay 2, 1 of each or 2 of one kind, where all the other players only get 1. Now let's also talk about towns. This is the town tile, and they can only be laid in these shaded areas. See these areas right here? Well, actually, let's move the board over. We're into the Silverton County. So it's got to be on one of these shaded areas. So this player could do this, and then the next turn when they lay the Gandy Dancer, he could lay a switch there, which means he now is connecting to a town. So in this case, this player has 2 towns connected, which means he can start running the locomotive with a passenger car that makes money. Now, on his next round, if he's laying more track, he can only build on this open place. Well, if he had laid another town, which can go on top, then he can go out this way. So you can see that track can only be laid on a black arrow on a town. And towns can be stacked up as, up to 3 or 4, whatever you want to do. Or you can simply go around and skip adding a new town. Your choice. When you first play a town, you can play it in advance. For example, let's say we know we're going to be going over here, so I'll put a town here. You can do that in advance. But when you actually lay track up to it, if you need to change it, you can do that as well. You just can't spin a town once track is connected. So that's how to lay track, how to connect to mines, and how to connect to towns. Now we're going to talk about how you can make money with those pieces of track and buildings established. But before we do that, we're going to have to take a look at some more car action role play cards.